The ground shook as a pillar of fire tore through the Baikonur sky. This was the Soviet dream taking flight, a nation reaching for the stars. Engineers and officials watched, faces tense. Every launch was a gamble. The future of the Union was strapped to that roaring rocket. The world watched. It was a challenge from Eurasia to North America, a silent victory in the Cold War. The Kremlin demanded success, and the pressure on scientists was unimaginable. They were soldiers where the enemy was the unforgiving vacuum of space. The world saw Sputnik's beeps, Gagarin's smile. These were the images Moscow wanted the world to see. Propaganda crafted from steel and fire, proof of communist superiority. But behind the headlines another story lurked, a story of failure and secrets. For every rocket that soared, how many had faltered? The ambition was immense, but the human cost was a secret the state kept. The void was hungry, and it did not always give back what it took. The space race was a brutal, high-stakes rivalry. The United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a technological deathmatch. Winning was everything. Second place meant nothing. Every launch, every orbit, every spacewalk was a move in a global chess game. The prize, not just scientific knowledge, but ideological supremacy. In America, NASA's failures and triumphs played out on live TV. In the Soviet Union, the program was shrouded in secrecy, run by the military, hidden behind the Iron Curtain. Nothing was announced until it was a success. Failure was never admitted. The state controlled the narrative, creating an illusion of invincibility. This relentless pursuit of victory combined with secrecy created a dangerous environment. Corners were cut, risks were taken, cosmonauts' lives were gambled for headlines. The Kremlin wanted to be first satellite, first man, first woman, first spacewalk. Cosmonauts became national heroes and pawns in a much larger game. The official story was one of flawless execution and heroic triumph, but rumors trickled through the cracks. Catastrophic launch failures, missions gone wrong. The Soviet Union presented a perfect record to the world, but was it too perfect? Could any program truly be without error? The secrecy that projected strength instead bred suspicion. It created a void where facts should have been. Into that void, dark legends began to grow. The legend of the cosmonauts who were lost to the silence. Not all who went up came back, and not all stories made it into the history books. The official list of Soviet cosmonauts is a roster of heroes: Gagarin, Titov, Tereshkova. But according to a chilling legend, they were not the only ones who flew. There were others, phantom cosmonauts, who never came home. Their names are not on any monument, their missions never officially happened. This is a puzzle pieced together from whispers, leaked documents, and strange voices captured from the sky. The theory suggests that before Gagarin's historic flight, other Soviet pioneers tried and failed. They were victims of a program that valued speed over safety, casualties of the Cold War, their deaths concealed. The Soviet Union was known for secrecy. The legend of the lost cosmonauts forces us to ask, how many people did the Soviet Union sacrifice in its quest to conquer the cosmos? If the phantom cosmonaut theory is true, the real number is much higher. Men and women who gave their lives for a dream only to be erased by the nation they served. In northern Italy, two brothers, Achille and Giovanni Giudica Cordiglia, set up a listening post called Torre Bert. They aimed their antennas at the sky, eavesdropping on the space race. In the late 1950s and early 1960s, they claimed to capture sounds the world was not meant to hear. They recorded the beeps of satellites, the telemetry of rockets, and, most disturbingly, what they believed were the voices of dying Soviet cosmonauts. In May 1961, they claimed to have recorded a female cosmonaut reporting a fire inside her capsule. "I am hot. I see a flame." Then silence. Another recording from November 1963 allegedly captured the final moments of a cosmonaut whose capsule veered off course, his voice fading into static. The most famous intercept, February 1961, just weeks before Gagarin's flight. The brothers claimed to record a human heartbeat and labored breathing from orbit. Then, silence. The Soviets never announced any such flights. The official record is blank. The brothers presented their tapes as proof of the lost cosmonauts. The authenticity of these recordings is fiercely debated. Skeptics argue the signals could have been misinterpreted or even hoaxed. The Soviet and Russian governments have always denied their validity, but the recordings persist. Too specific, too chilling to be easily dismissed, they remain a key piece of evidence for those who believe the official story is incomplete. Voices from the darkness demanding to be heard. Are they proof of a hidden tragedy or just echoes of Cold War paranoia? The answer remains elusive, but the legend endures. The official timeline of the Soviet space program is a polished narrative of triumphs: Sputnik, Laika, Gagarin. It's a clean story with no room for error, no mention of missions that might have gone wrong. But when you compare it to the shadow timeline, rumored disasters, secret launches, a different picture emerges. This shadow history is pieced together from the Torre Bert recordings, Western intelligence, and whispers out of Moscow. It points to strange gaps in activity, unexplained flurries of rumored flights just before Gagarin's success. The official history offers no explanation. The shadow history suggests catastrophic failures. Consider Vladimir Ilyushin, a celebrated test pilot rumored to have orbited before Gagarin only to crash land in China. The Soviets denied it, claiming he was in the hospital after a car accident. Was Gagarin's flight rushed to cover up Ilyushin's failure? The official timeline is silent. The shadow timeline is filled with such tantalizing, unprovable stories. This comparison reveals the power of a state-controlled narrative. If a launch failed, it never happened. If a cosmonaut died, he was never a cosmonaut. This creates a historical puzzle. One set of facts meticulously documented, another built on circumstantial evidence and cryptic signals. The truth likely lies somewhere in the murky space between these two histories. The Soviet Union defined reality for its people and for the world, but the cracks in the story remain. And in those cracks, the legend of the lost cosmonauts grows. The past is never as simple as it seems. The Soviet state built walls of silence around its secrets, but cracks always appeared. Information trickled out from brave insiders and relentless outsiders. Whistleblowers risked everything to reveal a space program far more chaotic and deadly than the world knew. Defectors spoke of launchpad explosions, design flaws, and a culture of fear. Their accounts gave credibility to rumors of hidden disasters. Outside, amateur radio hobbyists tracked Soviet launches, piecing together clues from intercepted signals. At Kettering Grammar School in England, students and their teacher became famous for uncovering Soviet missions before Moscow announced them. These sleuths scoured publications, obituaries, and technical journals for inconsistencies. They noted when cosmonauts disappeared from photos or records. It was painstaking work, assembling a jigsaw puzzle with most pieces missing. Slowly, they constructed an alternative history of the Soviet space program, a history the Kremlin desperately wanted to keep hidden. Censorship was a fundamental tool of the Soviet state, not just controlling news but reality itself. The past was malleable, changed to suit the present. The space program, the crown jewel, had to appear flawless. The most effective way make people disappear not just physically but from the record. Early photos of the Sochi 6 cosmonauts show Grigory Nelyubov later airbrushed out after his dismissal. He was erased from the program, the photograph, and finally from life itself. Official documents were classified, altered, or destroyed. Disasters like the Nedelin catastrophe, which killed dozens, were kept secret for decades. The state admitted only to the death of Marshal Nedelin, claiming a plane crash. The truth, a launch pad explosion, was wiped from the record. This willingness to hide disaster makes the cover-up of individual cosmonaut deaths seem not just possible, but probable. Censorship extended to fabricating successes, doctored footage, edited films, misleading illustrations. This manipulation created deep distrust. If they lied about small details, what larger truths were hidden? In the end, censorship protected the program's image, but left a legacy of suspicion. The ghosts of the lost cosmonauts haunt the story still. The path to the stars was paved with sacrifice, true for all space programs. But in the Soviet Union, secrecy blurred the line between heroism and tragedy. The official list of casualties is short, but the list of mysterious deaths is long. Yuri Gagarin, the ultimate symbol of Soviet success, died in a routine jet flight in 1968. The official explanation changed multiple times, fueling speculation. Was it a tragic accident or something more? Other cosmonauts died in training accidents, plane crashes, or under suspicious circumstances. Valentin Bondar's death in a fire was kept secret for decades. The Soviets learned from these tragedies but told no one. These mysterious ends raise profound questions about the nature of the Soviet system. Did some cosmonauts die in secret missions, or were they eliminated to ensure silence? The truth may be a complex combination of both. The full price of putting a man in space was never fully disclosed. The Cold War is over, the Soviet Union is gone, some archives have opened. Yet the story of the lost cosmonauts endures. It persists because it speaks to a fundamental truth, the Soviet capacity for secrecy and sacrifice. Despite decades of investigation, a definitive answer remains elusive. The Russian government dismisses the stories as propaganda, pointing to the lack of hard evidence. All we have are missing faces, ambiguous radio intercepts, and the testimony of defectors. It's easy to dismiss the legend as Cold War paranoia, but the patterns of secrecy and censorship are too strong to ignore. The story of the lost cosmonauts is compelling because it fits what we know about the regime. It's a narrative of ambition, sacrifice, and political calculation. The truth may still be locked away in Moscow's archives. Ultimately, the void may keep its secrets. But the search for truth matters. Honoring sacrifice, remembering hidden tragedy. Whether fact or legend, the lost cosmonauts remind us, the path to the stars was not always glorious, and some secrets may never return to the light.